day, grade 7 learners. Welcome to third quarter, week 7 of our online learning. Let's start with a prayer. Let us put ourselves in the presence of our loving Father, Lord Almighty, as we pray this step-led prayer. God, I come before you to thank you for a new day. Thank you for giving me life. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for my home and the beautiful family you have given me. Thank you for all the things I have and for the things I don't have. I do not worry about those things because I know that in due time you will provide for me. I don't know what this day might bring. Therefore, I put my trust in you. Fill me with your peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding. Cover me with your presence. Comfort me in my mind. Give me a fresh mental and spiritual attitude.
Cause me to rest.
And not be stressed. Let rivers of joy and happiness fill me every moment of this day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So last week we discussed Quarter 3, Module 6. And we learned ways on how to properly react to assertions in a text through agreeing and politely disagreeing. At the end of the discussion, you were asked to answer all your tasks in your Module 6.
Before we check your tasks in your Quarter 3, Module 6, let us first recap what is assertion, types of assertion, and ways on how to express your assertions.
Let's talk about expressing one's assertions. What is assertion? An assertion is the controlling idea of your argument. It is a confident and forceful statement of fact or belief. There are different types of assertion. Number 1 is the basic assertions. Basic assertion is a simple statement of standing up for personal rights, beliefs, feelings, or opinions. For example, when you're being interrupted, you would say, "Excuse me, I'd like to finish what I'm saying." The second type is the emphatic assertions. Emphatic assertion is recognition of another person's situation or feelings, followed by another statement standing up for the speaker's rights. For example, "I know you're feeling angry and frustrated while you wait for a response, but the best I can do is give you a ballpark estimate of how long it will take." So it's like putting yourself in another's shoes and acknowledging their opinions, feelings, and thoughts. The third type is the escalating assertions. Escalating assertion starts with a minimal assertive response. From the first example, "I know what you have to say is important, but I really want to finish what I was saying." Or, "I really want to finish before you begin to speak." So it starts off with one assertion, then followed by another with more emphasis. The next type is the confrontive assertions. Confrontive assertion describes what was to be done, it describes what actually occurred, or expresses what you want. For example, "I told you to complete the forms by November 15, and you agreed to do so. Now it's January 15, and you're telling me that you forgot the forms, but you still expect to complete our business on time? What is it that you want me to do?" This type of assertions usually happens in stressful scenarios where one person is frustrated. The next type is the I language assertions. I statements are helpful in expressing what you want without offending the other party, since you focus more on your needs and wants, beginning or peppering your statements with the pronoun I. The I statement begins with a description of your behavior, how it affects your life, describes your feeling, then describes your desire. Here's an example. When you shout, the effect is I'm unable to work with you and I feel angry. Therefore, I'd like for you to stop shouting and tell me what you want. The last type of assertion is the positive assertions. Positive assertion is used in expressing positive feelings about yourself or someone else. Example, I'm glad you came back to see me. Or, I did a good job working with that upset student. These type of assertions can promote positive emotions like encouragement and validity on others, so try to use them often. So how do you express your assertions? When expressing oneself, just remember ARE or R to guide you through. First, make an assertion. State clearly and strongly your point of view or opinion. Next, support the assertion with reason. Back it up with clear reasoning. And third, back up reasons with evidence. Support assertions with strong evidence or evidences. Here are some examples of applying ARE. Example A. I admire your courage. You stood up for me when I'm bullied. You were not afraid to defend me around those bullies. The assertion in the statement is, I admire your courage. The reason, you stood up for me when I'm bullied. And the evidence, you were not afraid to defend me around those bullies. Example B. My toes are in great pain. A girl wearing heels accidentally stepped on it. See the swollen toes? It'll be hard for me to wear shoes in this state. For this example, the assertion is, my toes are in great pain. The reason is because a girl wearing heels accidentally stepped on it. And the evidence is the swollen toe. Example letter C. I can feel that you're upset. I know you didn't mean to destroy your sister's essay, but somehow you did. She wasn't happy with it, so just say sorry. The assertion is, I could tell that you're upset. And the reason, I know you did not mean to trash your sister's essay. And the evidence, somehow you did. She wasn't happy with it, so say sorry.
So now let's check
Number
your
one,
assessment.
if you're agreeing with someone, it means you have blank views on the topic you're discussing. Correct, different, or the same? The same. You affirm or agree with the idea because you have the same reason. Next, number two. Which is best for listening to people agreeing and disagreeing? A news report, a history lecture, or a political debate? A political debate. It is where economic leaders engage in formal discussions in a public meeting. Number three. Which expression shows you strongly agree with what someone has just said? That's for sure, I'm not so sure. Well, I suppose so. That's for sure shows you strongly agree. Number four, which expresses weak or unsure agreement on something? No doubt about it, I doubt it, I guess so. I guess so expresses weak or unsure agreement. Number five, which expression makes it clear that you are sharing an opinion, not stating a fact? As far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell, as far as I know. As far as I am concerned, it is just based on one's viewpoint or perspective. If you say I couldn't agree with you more, it means you totally agree, no longer agree, totally disagree. Totally agree means I couldn't agree with you more. Which expresses the strongest disagreement? I am not so sure about that. Not necessarily. No way. No way expresses strong disagreement. If someone says exactly after you have shared an opinion, it means they blank with you. Strongly agree, strongly disagree,
strongly disagree, strongly agree, or might agree. Strongly agree means exactly. What can you say if someone interrupts you before you have finished making your point? You didn't let me finish. You didn't finish me. Sorry, go ahead. You didn't let me finish. When somebody is stating their viewpoint, it is appropriate to let them finish, not to interrupt, because do you agree, class, that when we are talking, we don't want to be interrupted also? But it's a different case when we are talking too much and we are not giving chance for others also. We have to be conscious of the open flow of the conversation. Remember, though it is important for us to react or express our thoughts, we should also develop our listening skill, because both are important in communication. And the main purpose of communication is gathering information. Number 10, what can you say to settle an argument or end a discussion that is getting too heated? I beg to differ. Can I throw my 2 cents in? Let's just agree to disagree. Let's just agree to disagree. This phrase in English refers to a solution of a conflict, usually on a debate or quarrel, whereby all parties tolerate but do not accept. Second activity, under Let's Elaborate, you are asked to draw a happy face if the expression shows respectful disagreement, and sad face if it is a forceful disagreement. When we say respectful, it shows deference or politeness. And when we say forceful, it is more of assertive, demanding attention or action. Expression number 1. Sorry, but I'm not so sure about that. Respectful or forceful? Respectful. Honestly saying you are not sure instead of pretending you know shows respect to the person you're talking to. Number 2. That is a valid point, but I interpret it differently. Respectful or forceful? Respectful. Accepting or acknowledging the other person's opinion before you point out also your own opinion is a great way to show respect to the person you are talking to. Number 3. I am afraid that is not always the case. Respectful also. You accept the person's idea, but you show regret. No? You regret to say that it may not be applicable for all, or you say sorry, it may not be accepted by others. Hence, in a way, you are giving regard to his feeling, therefore you are being respectful. Number 4. I see your perspective, but I think that is not the message the author wants to convey. Respectful or forceful? Same, it's also respectful. You acknowledge the given point and you reason out objection, hence showing politeness. Number 5, no way, I totally disagree with you. This time, this one is an example of a forceful disagreement. It possesses strong or forceful argument. No, you directly disagreed. So again, for us to be more respectful, we take into consideration the feeling of the person we're talking to also or disagreeing with. And then maybe you can give suggestion or reason out why you disagree on the given idea. Under Let's Dig In, you are asked to listen to the responses of the characters in the conversation under accompany retreat. You are asked to write A, if the statement indicates agreement, or D, if disagreement. Again, when we say agree, it means you have the same idea, therefore you affirm. And D, if you have different or opposite ideas, what did you do? You negate. Therefore, what can you do if you negate? You can give other suggestion, opinion, or reason out. So let's proceed with the conversation. I was thinking of holding the company retreat in the mountains. I agree. That would be perfect. Agree or disagree? Agree. I was thinking it could take place somewhere in January. That might be a little too cold for some people. A or D? D. Giving a different opinion. So therefore, that's disagreement. Yes, you're right. Of course, that's agreeing. What about April? April has a good weather that is not too cold or hot. Yes, that would work out better. A or D? A. You know, maybe we could take a survey to see how that works for everyone. Good idea. We will have to get right on it. A or D? A. Fine. Well, I will get right on it now. Of course, that is also agreeing to the idea, affirming to the action. For your Let's Remember activity, you are asked to complete the sentence starters. You are asked to give expressions for agreeing, disagreeing, and respectfully disagreeing. Answer all the blanks in your notebook for 11 points. For your application, you are asked to choose one topic from the choices that you are interested in. Present your arguments whether you agree or disagree using the different expressions you have learned. You are to answer it also. You are asked to answer it also in your English notebook for 5 points. Additional 5 points when you are able to show your creativity. When you are able to record a video and show your creativity in presenting your argument about your chosen topic, whether you agree or disagree. And for your final task, you are asked to choose the correct statement to use in reacting to the following expressions. Number 1, your friend says, "Let's go out tonight," and you think it is a good idea. What do you say? I agree, I will agree, I am agreeing. I agree. Your friend asks, "What about getting a pizza tonight?" You think it is a good idea and say, I agree to you, I agree with you, I am not sure. I agree with you says that you are agreeing. Number 3, you and a friend want to buy a birthday present for another friend. You suggest buying tickets for a concert, then ask your friend, "Do you agree? Do they agree? Do you agree? Do you think I am right? Do you agree?" Someone says, "It's cold today," and you agree. You say, "You are right, you've right, you are maybe right." You are right. Your friend is talking about the film you both saw and says it was fantastic. You agree and say, "I absolutely agree, I completely agree, I agree up for a point. I completely agree." Someone says something you completely agree with. You say, "I agree in total, I couldn't agree with you less, I couldn't agree with you more." I couldn't agree with you more means you completely agree. Someone says that your home football team will win with their next match. You do not agree, you do not really agree and say, so which one here? I'm not quite sure, I'm not real sure, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure expresses you do not really agree. You are discussing politics with a friend and they say something that you half agree with, half only. I agree up to a point. I don't total agree with you. I part agree with you. I agree up to a point. Someone says something you disagree with. You say, I don't agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree more. I agree with you entirely. I don't agree says means you disagree. Number 10, you know that you and your friend will never agree about something. So what do you say? Let's agree to disagree. Let's argue again. Let's disagree. Let's agree to disagree. So that's it. Those are your activities for your quarter 3 module 6 na. Module 6. Sorry, na this one is module 6 na. So all activities, this time you are to send a checked outputs in my messenger, a total of 52 points na divided for your written outputs and for your performance tasks. So now let's proceed with your quarter 3 module 7. Your quarter 3 module 7 is entitled The Heart of Quality Discussion. And what is that? That is learning how to raise thought-provoking questions. Welcome to our final lesson for third quarter. This module will help you discover how great questions challenge one's mind. The scope of this module can be used in various conversations. The language used will thoroughly engage you in different discussions. Even though making conversation with others is not easy, may this module encourage you to get to know others through asking courteous and interesting questions. Before we proceed with module 7, let us first have quick recap on WH questions, or words we use to formulate interrogatives or questions. This game is called Grade 7 Game Ka Na Ba? The Question Nazi Edition, wherein I'll be asking WH questions. Game na ba kayo? Question number 1. When asking about person or people, what WH question do we use? Great job! Who? When asking about a thing or an action, we use splendid. What? When asking about time or date, we use excellent. When? When asking for place or location, we use that's correct. Where? When asking for reason something happened, we use why. For number 6 to 10, you're going to choose which WH question would correctly complete the following. You may use the responses also as a clue. Blank was COVID-19 first discovered. It is asking for the place. So where was COVID-19 first discovered? It was first discovered in Wuhan, China. Blank should get the COVID-10 vaccine first. Asking for the person or people. Who should get the COVID-10 vaccine first? Health workers and older people should be prioritized for vaccination. Blank was COVID-19 first identified. Asking for the date. When was COVID-19 first identified? On 31st of December 2019. Blank vaccine is best for COVID-19. Asking to select a type of a vaccine. Which vaccine is best for COVID-19? The Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine is said to have a 95% effectivity in preventing the virus with symptoms. Can you prevent the spread of COVID-19? Blank can you prevent? Asking for process, procedure, or ways. How can you prevent the spread of COVID-19? Follow preventive measures such as social distancing, cover, cough, and sneeze, hand washing, and use of facial mask and shield. Well done, grade 7! Now I think you are ready for our next lesson. So let's proceed. After going through this module, you are expected to identify and explain the different ways on how to formulate thought-provoking questions and construct thought-provoking questions. Isn't it exciting? For better understanding of your Module 7, let's unlock first words that you will encounter. Thought-provoking question. These types of questions usually begin with why and how. They make the listeners think deeply and reason out. Public forum. A group of people talk about the problem or matter concerning public interest. Panel discussion. A group of experts or leaders discussing topic or brainstorming solutions to public concern in front of an audience. Moderator is the one who leads the flow of the discussion to make it as smooth as possible. Panel members. They are the discussants of the given topic. They explain their ideas and any questions raised by the moderator and audience. Audience. A group of people who took time to listen to the ongoing panel discussion. They can also ask questions or make comments about the topic being discussed. For your pre-assessment of Module 7 in your English notebook, you are asked to make questions for each words below. So these are the words. Formulate thought-provoking question about module, synchronous, asynchronous, swab test, quarantine, online class, COVID-19, Philippines, Metro Manila, and vaccine. Write your answers in your English notebook. Let's now proceed with Lesson 1, the heart of quality discussion, how to raise thought-provoking questions. Questioning is essential in order to build quality discussion. It helps build better understanding, promote high-level thinking, and makes both the discussant and learner more aware of the learning process. Imagine the different leaders of the country, such as the Metro Manila mayors, having a meeting to decide the next quarantine protocols. What do you think will happen in the gathering? How would discussions happen? What if there are some disagreements? With a lot of things that are constantly happening and changing around us, it is crucial to develop the ability to question meaningfully, think critically, and creatively. Preferably, be able to ask the best questions we can ask. The key to any great panel discussion or public forum is to ask great questions that inspire honest conversations. However, we must remember to ask the specific and proper questions to arrive at the expected response. For this reason, in today's lesson, we are going to learn ways on how to construct thought-provoking questions designed to get one's attention, requiring both the asker and respondent to think about their attitudes and opinions. Whatever directions you wish the conversation to take, a good question will help you get there. With this recall task, let us try your ability in constructing thought-provoking question. Use the words in the first box. And what are the words that you're going to construct thought-provoking questions with? Vaccine, community quarantine, travel ban, lockdown, meat holiday, voters registration, unemployment, online classes. Use these words and the pattern in the second box to create your questions. So these are the pattern. What do you mean by? What is the purpose of? What does blank relate? How does blank relate to blank? Do you think blank is justifiable? Why? What is an example of? So write your answer on the given in your English notebook. Okay, so number 1 question, what do you mean by? This is a thought-provoking question wherein it asks for definition. So what word in here you are not familiar with? So that is the pattern of question that we can use. So we can say, what do you mean by meat holiday? What else? What are your other answers? Next, number 2. How does blank relate to blank? We use this question if we are asking for connection of two ideas that has connection, of course. Na? Example, how does lockdown relate to unemployment? Or how does unemployment relate to community quarantine? Or how does community quarantine relate to lockdown? So you ask this if you think that they have connection but you are not sure with the connection. So this is the pattern that you can use. Next, number 3. What is an example of? So this time we use this pattern if we are asking same kind of the idea or an illustration of the idea. Example, what is an example of a vaccine? Okay, next one, number 4 question. What is the purpose of? This time we use this if we are asking for a reason. For example, what idea in here you would like to know the reason for? Example, what is the purpose of online classes? Number 5, do you think blank is justifiable? Why? We use this pattern if we are asking for what is the reason for, is an idea reasonable or defensible? No? For example, do you think travel ban is justifiable? Why? So meaning, is it reasonable to have a travel ban? Is it defensible that we should have travel ban? And so forth. No? So these are examples of patterns we can use in formulating thought-provoking question. How was constructing thought-provoking questions, class? Was it hard, average, or easy? Some of you may have responded hard, average, or easy, but we can say all of you are able to construct, if not 5, at least 4 or 3, because there are specific words and patterns given which you can focus on. Now, let's explore this text below. This time, you're going to choose your own word and pattern to construct your TPQ or thought-provoking question. As I read, try to construct questions on your mind which will encourage one to think and reflect. Okay? Philippine Red Cross eyes, meaning they are looking at or watching closely or with interest over 2 million COVID-19 vaccines from AstraZeneca Moderna by Elialin de Vera Ruiz. The Philippine Red Cross, PRC, has begun discussion with various pharmaceutical companies as it eyes the procurement meaning obtaining, purchasing, or buying of vaccines against the coronavirus disease, COVID-19. Senator Richard Gordon, also the PRC chairman, announced the possible procurement of at least 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine in a DZMM interview on Wednesday. Nag-order ako kung pwede sa malalaking kumpanya katulad nitong AstraZeneca, 2 million doses, and Moderna, 200,000 doses. I have ordered if it is allowed from big companies like AstraZeneca, 2 million doses, and Moderna, 200 doses, Gordon said. May kakausapin pa kami ngayon na pagkukuhanan ng another 200,000 doses. May mga kakausapin din kami na ibang tao. We are still negotiating with other companies to procure another 200,000 doses. We will also talk to other people, he added. Gordon also restated his proposal to implement the Buy One, Donate One scheme, where those who have the capacity or kakayanan to buy the vaccine can also donate to those who cannot afford it. May mga kinakausap na kaming mga tao na can afford na magbibigay siya ng libre sa mahirap para makapagpabakuna. We are already talking to people who can afford to buy and donate vaccine to the poor, he said. While the PRC is still working on getting COVID-19 vaccines, Gordon offered its assistance to the Department of Health in its national immunization program. Okay. So with this selection, what thought-provoking question could you possibly raise? So try to think of a question. Again, you do not need to answer that question. You just try to raise a thought-provoking question. If you have the chance to talk to the people or concerns in this article, what would be that thought-provoking question you can raise? Now, as you are thinking about your questions, let us elaborate more about thought-provoking questions. Thought-provoking questions are created questions that can set mood of a conversation. Again, exchanging of ideas. It digs your brain with real substance, enables new ideas to succeed and fresh perspectives to grow. Let us compare the following examples of uninteresting questions or nonsensical questions versus thought-provoking questions or questions that enables you to think deeply or reason out. Na? When we say uninteresting questions, these are the questions that are not encouraging. The person may or may not answer the question. While thought-provoking questions, these are questions that cause you to think seriously about something, which is the concern or the matter. Let's have these examples of question. What is the issue or problem? Is an example of an interesting question. Whereas, how can you solve the issue or problem? Is an example of a thought-provoking question. Which is better, online or face-to-face learning? Is an example of an an interesting question. Why do you think face-to-face learning is better than online learning? Is an example of a thought-provoking question. When you think it can be a range of ideas taking shape, nagkakaroon ng hugis, from simple observations to complex breakthrough. Thought-provoking questions make you reflect deeply. Some of these questions are philosophical, which means questions relating to study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence. Example, questions about right and wrong, reasoning, and value of things. Others can be personal, which means questions that are about one's private life, relationship, and emotions. And there are many things that give you a good mental exercise. One thing is common in all this. It suggests pondering and deep thinking. Going back to the goals of our Module 7, it is to identify and explain different ways on how to formulate thought-provoking questions, which we can use for panel discussion or even public forum. The key to any great panel discussion or public forum is for the moderator or audience to ask great questions that inspire frank conversation among the panelists. Therefore, it is important to formulate and raise appropriate, sensible, and thought-provoking questions to maintain the interest of the panel members and keep the discussion meaningful. And the following 6 questions have been shown to improve the outcomes of panel discussion or public forum, helping to get individuals think about content more deeply. Remember, if you formulate and raise thought-provoking question during the forum, it would likely result to better discussions. Therefore, the key to powerful thinking is powerful questioning. There are times and places that require thought-provoking questions for deeper and more meaningful communication like public forum and panel discussions. Thought-provoking questions can be about moral and ethical dilemma questions. These are questions that make the other person think whether something is morally or ethically correct. Provide individuals with a problem or situation and ask them to explore one or more of the moral and ethical concerns. This type of prompt will get individuals to think about the problem from multiple sides, giving them a bigger understanding of the subject. This will help them prepare for discussion, as they now have the tools to form their opinion and ideas based on those that they have researched. Example of moral or ethical dilemma question. It is said that when Moderna vaccine were tested, they did use cells from aborted fetuses. What is your reaction? Number 2, problem-solving process questions. These are the questions that make other person assess, diagnose, and think of a possible action to solve the issue. This type of question will help individuals through the process of problem solving. Each step will have them evaluate the problem and prompt to think of ways on how they can fix it and deal with it. Number 3, compare and contrast questions. These questions are about similarities and differences between ideas. Ask the individuals to make connections and identify differences between ideas that can be found in class texts, articles, images, videos, and so forth. When individuals understand the similarities and differences between different ideas, They can develop a better argument because they understand both sides. This type of question will lead to better constructed responses from individuals and, in turn, deeper, more well rounded discussions. Example of a compare and contrast question: how do these vaccines differ from each other? Or how are they similar? Number 4, interpretive and evaluative question. These questions are about intention or goal of the author, creator, character, and others. Begin with questions about the intentions or goals of the discussion or forum. Then ask the individuals to evaluate the truthfulness of these intentions. And finally, the effectiveness of the methods used. Examples: what is the purpose of choosing this vaccine over others? How would you justify that these vaccines are better than others? Have you tested the vaccine's effectiveness? How would you explain the vaccine's effectivity? So again, these questions are about the intention or goal of the creator, author, or character. Number 5, conceptual changes questions. These are questions that encourage us to express opinion about the subject of the question, thereby making self-reflection. Introduce the individuals to new concept or idea, then ask them to find common misunderstanding about this topic and explain it in their response. Number 4, interpretive, and number 5, conceptual changes question. Let individuals form their ideas about a topic based on the content they have read. Once they have formed their ideas, they must then question their methods and challenge their original thoughts. These are great ways to get individuals think critically about their ideas, encouraging them to reflect and self-evaluate. Example of conceptual change question. It is said that the process of vaccine development was rushed, minadali, and the vaccine may not be safe because of the speed. Is it true? Can you explain further? Okay, so again, this type of question encourages the person to express opinion about the subject, therefore making self-reflection. Lastly, number 5, personal exploration question. These are questions that are based on one's personal idea or exploration. Let the individuals explore a new idea on their terms, exploring what it means to them as individuals. This creative freedom helps them find their authentic voice. Examples: what does blank mean to you? So you are asking the person himself, na? What is it for him? Okay, what does it mean for him or her? Or find an example of. Questions like this encourage individuals to be curious and build a personal connection with the topic. This makes the topic more interesting to the individuals, which help create further engagement during discussions. So making the question personal. So again, those are the 6 type of questions to ask in order to improve the outcomes of discussions or forum. So now let's proceed with the third expectation in your module 7, and that is constructing thought-provoking question. In your first task, you are asked to read and examine the article below. So this is the article. Read this article, make your own questions out of the article using the ones that we discuss on Let's Elaborate, which are the type of questions. So there are 6 types of questions to ask in order to improve the outcomes of discussion or forum. So create one question for each based on the given article article earlier, no? Moral and ethical dilemma question, assess, diagnose, act, or problem-solving process questions, compare and contrast questions, interpretive and evaluative questions, conceptual changes questions, personal exploration questions. Next task, you are asked to fill in the blanks with the information needed to complete the prompt. Answer this in your English notebook for a total of 8 points. Third task, you are asked to read the article, examine the article below in your English notebook, and enumerate the 6 ways to improve the outcomes of panel discussions and public forums. After enumerating, you are to formulate at least one question for each way, na? So about this article. So you're going to draw a table with 2 columns, 6 rows. So what are the 6 types of question, and formulate the question based on the article earlier. And for your final task, you are asked to search for a news report or article about the responses of COVID-19 of the city of Taguig or the municipality of Pateros. Read and examine the article. Write few questions following the ways to improve the outcome of panel discussion and public forum. Write your answer in your English notebook. So you write first the title of the news report or article. Then again, you're going to draw a table with 2 columns and 6 rows. Na? So the 6 types of questions to improve the outcomes of panel discussion and public forum, and give examples of question based on the chosen news report or article about the responses of COVID-19. This time around, make sure that you are guided by the rubric. No? There are 3 criteria for the rubric, therefore it is for a total, this activity is for a total of 15 points. No? 5 points for correctness, 5 points for appropriacy, and 5 points for critical thinking, which is a total of 15 points. Correctness means the output manifests correct use of language that is free from too much error. The questions raised are understandable and anchored in article chosen and attached. Furthermore, the output addressed the 6 ways of improving public forum which were discussed in the module. Appropriacy means the output reflects the article attached. So meaning all the question is about the article that you have chosen. That is a news article specifically addressing the context of Taguig or Pateros. The student presented the output as what the table of the previous page has shown. Additionally, the constructed questions manifest respect and courtesy and are free from words showing disrespect. Lastly, critical thinking for 5 points. This question served the purpose of the lesson, which is to ask thought-provoking questions. Again, questions build on the previous one, proving as a technique was used. For more information, you can check out the following sources. These are used in your Module 7. So that's it. Those are your activities under Module 7. Again, there will be no Google link for Module 7. Instead, you are to send through direct message in Messenger a picture of your outputs of your Module 7 activities. Thank you so much for attending our online class. God bless you all. Keep safe. Bye, everyone!